This is Paul Tully for Boxing King Media in association with theboxingking.com. And I'm joining us today is undefeated 11-0 super middleweight contender Pody the Hammer McCRORY. Pody has 5 spectacular knockouts to his record thus far, including a first-round knockout in his last fight against Mickey Ellison back in September of last year. Pody also won the Irish 2018 Knockout of the Year for his devastating right hand in the second round and only his 3rd pro fight against Manny BK back in 2018. So Pody, welcome to the show. You were meant to be fighting on the undercard of Gurphy versus McGregor in Bolton on Friday night. Tell us what happened in the leading up to that fight.
Yeah, so it's a little bit strange. We were training Monday and Tuesday, just making weight as usual. Nothing different. Just light sessions, just to get just to burn energy. And on Tuesday night, and I got a pain in my knee. I didn't think much of it. So then I woke up early Wednesday morning, around 4:30, 5 o'clock, because our flight was quite early. So we were flying to Birmingham. And when I got out of bed, I knew there was something wrong with my knee. So I struggled to get about the house. I was just getting some stuff ready. And then we went to the airport, flew to Birmingham, and my knee just got worse. As the day went on. So it swole, it became quite warm, it was inflamed. And it was very painful. So I got to the hotel. I didn't tell anybody at the time. So it was only me and Dee that knew. Dee's my coach. Didn't tell anybody. So we snuck out and we got ice. We got some ibuprofen creams and gels and some herbal stuff, just anything that we thought that could help. Because I was thinking, I haven't done anything to injure my knee, so I can't be injured. It's just a niggle, something's going on, it'll go away. So I iced it all day, applied cream, took some ibuprofen, paracetamol, just whatever I needed. So I was due to train at 6 p.m. that night. Just a bit of weight loss training, the way in on Thursday morning. And we walked into the gym, and it was horrific. Stairs. Walked into the gym. I tried to get on the treadmill to even walk. It was so strange. So when I got back up to the room, I phoned Jamie Conlon, who is my manager. He's the vice president of MTK. And we talked. So he said, can we wait until he's over at 7 a.m. on Thursday morning, to make a decision? He'll have a look and we'll talk about it. So I said, yes, no worries. I continued to try and make weight, which was fine. I was on weight. It was an issue. And so I turned off all the lights and tried to get asleep about 10 p.m. And it was just too much. So I called Jamie and says, mate, I don't know what's going to happen here. And then he said, okay, let me speak to Lee Eaton and the rest of the team. So then it came the Thursday morning, and we had to call the fight off.
It sounds like, Pody, you did everything within your power to try and get the knee to the point where you could at least make the ring walk, but it just wasn't for happening. Very frustrating, as you say, having put in so much hard work. Had a good camp and trained hard to make the weight, made the sacrifices, and then for that to happen is very frustrating. But one thing I want to come on to, perhaps even more frustrating, is some noises coming out of Jermaine Brown's camp, or certainly some of his followers anyway, that you had kind of somehow fabricated this as an excuse to try and pull out of the fight. How would you respond to those accusations, Pody?
Yeah, listen, social media it's a fun place, but it's full of people that don't mind giving out grief when they actually know nothing about a situation. It was actually caused by maybe a post that Jermaine Brown put on himself. He changed the image of me and his fight poster, and he put a clear in my face. Slightly immature, but I kind of get his frustration. I listened to an interview from his coach, and he went full time for the fight. So I understand that he's lost out on some money. He was getting ready for the biggest fight of his career, and it was called off on the day of the weigh-in. So I kind of understand his frustration, but it's slightly immature. And for him and maybe his people to maybe indicate that I'm lying about an injury, it's kind of baffling, because why would I try and put up a fight with Jermaine Brown when 4 weeks before I agreed to fight one of the most dangerous super middleweights in the world, and David LeMieux.
Yeah, well, Pody was just going to come on to that. Yeah, that's a very good point you're making. And in fact, the boxingking.com is going to post photos of your swollen knee from Wednesday morning. And I mean, I've had a look at those photos that you sent me, Podrick, and you can clearly see a huge disparity between your left knee and your right knee. You know, the swelling is there for all to see. I don't think any professional fighter with 11 fights, you know, under their belt is going to purposely injure themselves to cost themselves a payday, you know. So when you think about it even logically, but like you were saying there was a possibility, a very near miss, in fact, of you fighting IBF former world middleweight champion David LeMieuX. How did that come about? And in the end, how was it a sort of a near miss, if you like?
Yeah. So just to go back to my knee, I have visited the hospital. I came back to Belfast and I went to the hospital, and they sent me away with a week-long antibiotic, and they have said that it's an infection. It's called bursitis. So yeah, that was the injury. It's an infected knee. Bursitis is called. So yeah. So yes, David LeMieuX. We had agreed to fight Jermaine Brown on that date, and then there was a few things that needed done, like changed. So Jimmy said, "Let me get back to you." So he called me back the next day and says, "Okay, that's all sorted, but how does fighting David LeMieuX sound?" And I went, "Like, what do you mean?" And he says, his management group have reached out to me looking for a super middleweight, and I thought that you're perfect for it. So I says, "Please, let's get that made." Again, I wasn't like overly sure of where it was and what stage it was at. So he says, "No, they're quite interested in it. I give your name. They've looked into it, and they're happy to make the fight." So Jimmy got back to me then a couple of hours later and said, "Listen, there's been an official offer." So the official offer was obviously money, date, venue, and like so on. So I says, I actually the official offer was rejected. We asked for a bit more money. It went away. It came back the next day, and it was accepted. So it was all sorted. I thought the fight was done. Later that night, Jimmy texted me and saying, "Listen, it's almost over the line. They just need to bring it to the broadcaster." And then the next morning, he got back to me and said, "Mate, sorry, it's bad news. The broadcaster has rejected the fight." So listen, I already had a fight arranged with Jermaine Brown, but me thinking that I was going to fight him, I was really buzzing for that fight. But it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be.
Sure, Pody. It's nice though just to even have your name mentioned in those circles, and it says something about what you've achieved thus far to date in the fights that you've had. You know, but you never know. It could come back around again. Is there any word? Have you had any discussions with Jamie Conlon about the possibility of rescheduling the fight with Jermaine Brown, given the fact that you've said basically the hospital are saying this is an infection? In some ways, probably that's good news in the sense of there's no long-term lasting damage there. Once the infection passes out of your body, presumably you'll be fit to get back into training.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. They haven't mentioned anything about it being about it like recurring. So I think once we get rid of it, that's it. The antibiotics seem to be working. Like the redness is slightly going away, so it's good signs. And the morning of the weigh-in, I was given a potential date for the fight with Jermaine Brown, and I have no issues with that date. It's actually not too far away. So yeah, it's within 8 weeks. Depending on how my knee heals, I'm more than ready for that fight again.
Okay, and is it more of a challenge, Pody, in these sorts of circumstances to stay focused and stay up for this kind of fight mentally as much as the physical aspect?
I think after I had to pull out, the small backlash has actually given me that extra motivation. I feel a bit more driven, like for this fight. The people around me were a bit angry from some of the responses. So it's given me that wee bit extra drive and hunger as well. Not that I actually needed it, because I have a young family like to fight for. But yeah, it hasn't made it any harder at all. It's actually made it a bit easier.
Added a bit of a spice to the whole recipe. Yeah. Moving on then, Polly, just wanted to ask you, you moved away from coaching under Ray Ginley to D. Walsh and your strength and conditioning coach, Dan Anderson. How do you feel you've evolved as a fighter since you made that switch?
Yeah, so we have had one fight together. And that fight, it was against a top 15 ranked UK fighter, and it ended in 70 seconds. I felt amazing getting into the ring. I think with a bit of consistency with S&C under Don Anderson, and then being around a good team with D. Walsh, Lewis Crocker, Rory Dalton, and Owen O'Neill, and then the rest of the boys that were in the gym. It definitely brought something different to training, because towards the end with me and Ray, it was only me and Ray. There's a team, a coach and fighter. But the team environment has definitely brought me on a bit. There's a lot more like in-house sparring we can do as well, which also helps. So from I've linked up with them, and it's been great. I feel a better fighter. I feel a stronger and fitter fighter as well.
And also, Pody, the momentum is there in that camp. Lewis, obviously, fantastic performance against Denise Elbay. What a fight that was. And also Owen O'Neill winning out in Luxembourg last night. So there seems to be a real sort of positive winning mentality there within the camp, would you say?
Yeah. Let's go with Lewis first. Actually, Lewis fought a week before my last fight, and he fought a guy called Lewis Green. Lewis Green was one tough fighter. He was an area champion, and he was a solid fighter. And Lewis, he put on a big performance. And then again, he fought a week before my scheduled last fight against Dennis Elbay, and it was a great fight. Lewis answered a lot of questions. He was hurt a little in maybe the fourth round, and he recovered really well. And he fought a very good, entertaining 10-round fight. So he answered questions about his endurance as well.
Absolutely, and also Barry Jones was saying in the commentary of that fight that he thought that Lewis had a really, really good jab, but he maybe just needs to use it a bit more. So the scary thought is that there's still more progression to come from Lewis. He's got the power there, but he's obviously only really still learning and progressing himself. But so much potential there in that man to go on and even beyond European level, obviously.
Yeah, Lewis Crocker is a young, he's in his early 20s. He's a ferocious puncher, which he's always been known for. But people are now starting to see the side of Lewis, where he's actually a great boxer as well.
Absolutely. Well, Pody, listen, we'll wrap it up there, mate. I don't want to take up any more of your time. Very much appreciate you giving us your time. And whenever you get a firm date for the rescheduled match with Jermaine Brown, we'll have you back on. And we wish you all the best with the knee. And hopefully you can get back to training and get back nice and sharp really quick. So thanks very much, Pody. Take care and God bless, mate. All the best.
No worries, mate. Thanks.
Cheers. All the best. Bye. Bye. Paul Tully for Boxing King Media and theboxingking.com. Hit subscribe for more quality boxing content.